is why they produced that Obama character, short for abomination, as in an abomination. And so now we watch the stage show play out as the real people, the people from the land, the flesh and blood sovereign beings walking as the first ones, the ancient ones have returned. We decided not to use their judicial system because it ain't designed for us. And we decided to go over the head and use what's called a higher order of law, divine law, that gives us the divine right to exercise the birthright of the earth right and to grandfather clause the grandmother clause in at the close of the age in order to prepare for the next 7 generations. And here we are applying it actually in real time. But do the people really know what we're doing? But they don't understand the magnitude of it because it haven't hit mainstream media because we ain't done taking that over yet. But sooner or later, it all got to come out. You on mute.
So this would be a good time, Rod, if you would, for any questions that are in the chat room that our moderators can read out for any Q&A. We'll take some Q&A. Okay, Miss Miko, I got you now. So moderators, could you please look in the chat room and see if there's any questions, and either the TikTok, if Tracy, if there's any questions, could you please let us know so that we can answer any questions anybody has, if we can.
Everything's out in the open.
Y'all need to. Okay, go ahead.
I see a question from Alana Gonzalez. It says, question, why when the visualization of the mitochondria occurs, it shows and vibrating? What does that mean?
Is it her visualization or is it the video she watching?
No, she didn't say her visualization or the video that she was watching.
If she's actually from her visualization, it would mean something different.
Okay.
So I'll answer from both perspectives. The mitochondria is putting energy out on a vibrational frequency. If it's on the video, it's displaying that there's a vibration emanating from the mitochondria that is a noticeable part of the anatomy of the cell. If you in the visualization and it starts off still but begin to show vibrations in your visualization, it means that you are activating your personal mitochondria, and now you can start amplifying the output. So that would be the goal of your visualization.
Right.
And then the next question that I see in the chat from Shakawia, I hope I said your name correctly, Terry. If a person has metal fillings or other metals inside the body, what do we do about that? Of course, you answered that with the getting the metal detox, but you can.
But still, okay. So for the if you want to get the metal out your mouth, you can talk to your dentist about replacing it with porcelain fillings And as far as like a metal replacement, it's still going to leach metals, but it won't be the toxic metals. The toxic metals are like lead and the softer metals, right? The iron rust and causes your melanin to take on a brown hue instead of the magnesium turns green, which would make your skin take on a green hue. That's what one of the chemicals that was switched in the tampering with the human genome.
Okay, so in the TikTok, someone is saying, when are you going to put in place? I don't know. You have to be a little bit more detailed, sweetness, and then I'll come back to you. Jody says, do we need volunteers and others to help? I'll let the clan mothers chair and co-chair and the communications Erica to respond to that question.
Yes, we will send out information. If you're on the email list or have filled out the Clan Mother form, then you will have newsletters to go out as well as emails calling for help in certain areas.
Okay, so right now, if you would, please, we need to talk about a few things that are coming up as it relates to the clan mothers and the 12 steps to sovereignty, and where we are with that. So we'll come back to that at the end so that we can give y'all some information that you definitely need to know before you get off this call, okay? And to pass on to your other sisters and brothers likewise, because this 12 steps to sovereignty is a masculine and feminine over there. The both are over there. In the clan mothers, there is only for the women. So I want to be real clear about that. Okay. All right. So Ray Rising, hi. All right. Yeah, a whole bunch of folks talking about they're gonna join the 12 steps of something. Okay, but hey, stop. All right. So, but any other questions related to what the topic is, what we're taking right now, because I don't want to be all over the place.
I seen one in the comments. Okay.
If they could raise their hand if they have a question so that we don't miss anybody.
Well, one of them wanted to know the name of the books we was reading. So can you put the cover of the ISIS thesis up so they can see that again?
Sure. Let me pull it up. All right, so let me share my screen. There we are. And let me there it is.
Okay.
Is this the same one like the ISIS paper?
No, the ISIS papers is the rules to the games, and that's written by Dr. Francis Cresswell.
Okay.
Okay, then we can put the cover to the Henrietta Lack book up.
Okay. I think I need to find that in
Email.
yeah, here it is right here. Move this out of the way. All right, there we go. Can you see that good, or you want me to blow it up a little bit more?
You blow it up because they got to write. They want to write the name down. You probably gonna have to just open up that screen. It should be big enough then.
Okay. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen. I gotta go and grab it somewhere else. Okay,
So
end up. So
the Lax family reached a settlement, but they didn't reach the settlement that they supposed to get because the benefit that the pharmaceutical companies reaped from her sales. So when we take over the pharmaceutical industry, I'm going to advise the Empress that we should give a percentage of the pharmaceutical industry's proceeds to them.
mm-hmm.
Because
And that
they made trillions off that lady's blood.
I agree.
And if her sales is immortal, that means every time they splice one, she still feel it. Let that sink in.
I mean, they've been stealing from us all along. Like when we have our babies, anytime we go and
Let me pull it up. Hold on, it's taking a minute to send. Give me a minute. Takes forever for it to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see if it goes through. I see a hesitation that it's coming through. This is interesting. Oh, here it goes. I got it. Got it. Got it. Bam. Okay. Hold on, y'all. Let me share.
Up with all of these people with these blankets. And then some of the big mamas went to teach them stuff.
Yeah.
Like the tribes that took the ones that took sides with us, you know them because they'll tell you who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll turn around and have the same grievance we have, but we know they're from a different genetic stock.
That's right.
The ones who don't want us telling who we is and who get all of the benefits from the government, and they get mad when we tell them we the original people of the land. Them the ones that got enrolled under the Dirty Moors to usurp and replace us.
Cosplayers. Yeah, cosplayers.
Right. So they taught them in the boarding schools how to pretend to be Indian.
Yes, yes. The re-education of the indigenous was to make them pretend that they were the originators of the indigenous tribes. They
All right.
didn't
Now
know.
remember.
That's why you see a whole bunch of people playing Indian, and it doesn't even make sense.
Now, if you look at what they was doing, what they told us, it was the reverse. They told us they was taking the Indian children and teaching them how to be like white people.
Yes, yeah.
But the reality is when them schools was invented, there wasn't no white people. Remember, there were no white people historically in legalese into 1681. That's when they legislated white people into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when they was training them to be white people mean royalty. The royalty on this land was the tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when they was teaching them how to be white, they was teaching them how to live like the free people of the land.
Mm-hmm.
This is what doesn't make sense. If the narrative they gave us was true, here's something that don't make sense. Historically, we know that they came to us to teach them how to farm the soil. The European colonizers that came over here didn't know how to work our soil.
No.
Because it takes a different hand. So if we ain't from here, how we know more about the land than the people that's supposed to brought us here? Don't make sense. It starts to make their logic disintegrate in its presence. The only thing that made sense with the Indian schools, because they called them Indian schools.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into school to do HVAC, it's called HVAC school.
Yes.
Or heating and cooling school.
Yeah.
If you're going to be an electrician, you go to an electrician training program or an electrician school. If you're going to be a mechanic, you go to mechanic school.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to school to be an Indian, where are they going to send you?
To Indian school.
They wasn't sending them to Catholic school. And Catholic school was a thing then.
Yeah.
They was sending them to Indian school. Why they wasn't sending them to Catholic school if they was trying to Christianize them?
Yeah.
They was sending them to Indian school because that's where they was raised as orphans.
That's right.
And given the information and the cultural identity of the people of the land, they don't know they ain't from over here. They don't know they Siberians, Mongolians.
Until they take a DNA test, they see it all in that mix.
Right, but then the excuse is the Bering Straits.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but even that's a poor excuse because all of the Inuit people of Alaska, we call Eskimos, they know that these big old Mississippian Negroes came to their aid when they were fighting the Spanish on the West Coast. So they already know that the Inuits know they not the same Asian stock as the ones in the lower southeast.
Yeah.
Now,
there was a woman that battled me over indigenous, and she was like, "You people keep taking over," and I was like, "How could you?" She was like, "You know such thing." I was like, "You don't know about the Caribe, the Kalika, and the Taino?" I was like, "The fact that you don't know that lets me know that you're not indigenous." Because your grandmother, your great-grandmother would have already instilled, and you would have known by the trades of certain kinds of artifacts that we trade between the different tribes that came to mainland. The fact that you don't know that, and I look, like we have images, I look just like my ancestors today, just then. I haven't been, my features, my phenotype hasn't changed that much, but you don't recognize it because yours doesn't match, because you're a cosplayer, you're a geoengineered, Cabbage Patch, I think they're hybridized in laboratories, and they were created just like in Egypt, and everything afterwards, they were taken over, taught, like you said, and trained to be something and to live in those territories, to cosplay those previous tribes.
So in the Seminole Wars, I'm going to show you something as soon as I find this book.
Yeah.
They call it Seminole Wars. We call it Gullah Wars.
You're right.
Who's telling the story tells you who's talking. We don't acknowledge Seminoles. We acknowledge Gullah Geechee.
Yeah. Seminoles is a Spaniard name.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But it's a famous book. Got a picture of two dudes on the cover. Trying to find it. It's not coming up. This ain't the one I was looking for, but it's just to show what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Now, when you see this in the Seminole Wars, I don't know if, oh, you can't see it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay. So hold on. Let me word that. Hello. Hold on one moment, y'all. I'm getting it uploaded. Okay. Let me share. Hold on. Okay. All right, y'all, let me share. Absolutely.
Right.
Same with politics
Today
too.
we call them Swiss bankers.
Oh,
Now you remember when, okay, so the Spanish Inquisition come, French Revolution come, the great expulsion of the Moors in 1493, I think was the final. Remember, Columbus came in 1492.
yeah. Yes.
They finally exiled the Moors from Europe in 1493. They had nowhere for them to go, so they was porting them or shipping them to what was known at the time as Al Maghrib, because Africa wasn't Africa yet.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a province of what became later known as Northwestern Africa. This province was called Al Maghrib. At the time that the Al Maghrib was receiving the exiles from Europe, they allowed them to settle in a very specific city. One of them is called Fez.
We get the Fez hats. That's where the name comes from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, the other city was I forgot the name of the other city, but it's in modern day Tunis. Right? So this is where they was being
Tunisia.
ran.
Isn't Tunisia in Africa? You're talking about Africa? That's where they have the oldest temple, like Jewish temple. Interesting.
Okay, now while they there, they getting a commission from the Pope. The commission from the Pope is giving them permission to settle any lands outside of Europe that's non-Christian and enslave the people and to take the wealth of the people. Right? They get this permission from the Pope. And once they get the permission from the Pope, they executing a doctrine of crusade that became known as the white man's burden. The white man's burden was popularized through a poem by Rudyard Kipling called White Man's Burden. Right? And you can actually play it, the audio to it on YouTube.
Okay.
Right. So the white man's burden was the pressure that was put on them to settle the non-Christian world and convert them all to the church.
Mm.
Right.
Mass
So
conversion
that
to
was
Catholicism.
right.
Yeah.
So this was done through a series of papal bulls that was already recorded in between 1100s and 1500s. Right. They had already put a series of papal bulls in place. And then when they got ready to come over here, the commission came in the form of a letter called the most vile and bloody oath of the papacy. In the introduction to the letter, it say that the oath was to kill the kings, the chiefs. No, he killed the chiefs, the princes, and the people of the land.
Mm.
It was always reference to the males, though, because they always wanted the females to fill their harems.
Is that why, though, in Jewish culture, they say that you can only be a Jew by coming through a womb of a Jewish woman? Was it that they were taking the womb because the extra mitochondria comes from the womb of the woman, so she held the rights to the land or that area or the culture, right?
Yeah, the Jewish law, they talk matriarchal, but they don't practice matriarchy.
No.
They dictator patriarchs just like Muslims.
Mhm.
And all of them was created by Catholics. Look, if you read the history of the Jews, they go into what's called the captivity in Babylon. You familiar with that part of their history?
I am.
When they went into the captivity of Babylon, they were stripped of their Torah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When they came out of Babylon, they didn't have a Torah. They came with two different books. They came out of Babylon with the Talmud and the Mishnah.
Yes, the Mishnah. Yes.
Those books carries the keys to the Babylonian blood magic, Babylonian sex magic, and Babylonian money magic that was written in Babylon by one of Enlil's sons named Ninursin.
That's when. Okay. You're giving me pieces of the puzzle. Okay.
Right. Now, the reason why they say we all sinners, because we are all born in his system of money magic, sex magic, and blood magic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As long as you're born in those systems, you are forced against your will without your knowledge or consent to participate in these same three rituals. You don't know you're doing it. So you are automatically a sinner.
By default.
Yeah. But most of us don't know that sin was his own God in and of to itself. Long before Yahweh was called Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if you look at it biblically, the one we call sin is not in the Bible until you see the word sin.
Understand.
So they don't tell you that sin is a whole deity. So you think that sin is a verb, something that you do.
An action, yeah.
It is a verb in the sense that if you practice blood magic, money magic, and sex magic,
You're all participating in that.
sin.
Yeah.
Right, you practicing sin. You a sin practitioner. How do they make sure that you always practicing a sin right? They have you take communion.
Yes, and participate in the immolation and the replication of eating the flesh of Christ and drinking the blood of
Drinking
Christ.
the blood.
Which is a blood ritual.
It's called ritualistic sacrifice.
Yes, yes.
So every church that has communion, that say, eat of my flesh and drink of my blood,
That's right.
is ritualistically killing the same God all over again.
Oh boy. You know, those of us
Which is
who are all Catholics, we know that well. Yeah.
okay. Now, what we don't know is that anybody who doesn't practice the sin rites has no party to any biblical claim one way or another. Because if you want your wealth, and biblically speaking, and you don't want to be a sinner,
Mm-hmm.
you have to escape the greed of wealth,
Yeah.
the love of the wealth,
Yes.
right? And this is why you got 7 deadly sins, but you also got 7 holy virtues. They don't talk about them because they want you to focus on the 7 things that sin wrote as side effects of practicing the blood magic, the money magic, and the sex magic. What does it do? It creates laziness, sloth. It makes one greedy. Greed, right? It makes one vain and self-haughty, right? Vanity. And you go through all 7 of them, and they all tie back to one
So
of
it's
those.
a side effect. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a side effect.
Yeah.
Well, what's the other one
And-
you said?
It's a side effect of the 7 deadly sins is a side effect of practicing sin rites.
Interesting.
They develop your character where those are your prominent. One of those is going to be your dominant trait.
Woo! That's the whole United Fakes. Oh, well, the whole system, every country.
Now, if you look at the 7 holy virtues, or you go to the 42 negative confessions of Mott,
Yeah.
right? The 10 commandments come from the negative confessions of Mott. But at the time, Moses was getting old and he couldn't remember them all, so he only could remember 10 of them. You remember, he got exiled from Egypt. He was 40 years, and he was 40 years in the jungle, so
So he
he
was-
already 80 when he get his calling.
Wow.
He get his
It-
calling, and it
8.
take him another 40 years to free the people from Israel, from Egypt,
Is that the
because
whole
he had to first
44
be trained to be the
concept?
priest. Huh?
Yeah. Is that the whole
Yeah.
concept of like 44? You know how they say 44? Could it be like that 40 years, you know, and the 8 represents like money or wealth or the infinite structure within that? No?
The 40 is a rank. It's a
Okay.
ranked seat of a matriarch.
Okay.
There's actually 45 is her rank. Her husband is 40.
Mm.
There's 40 is Enlil's seat. 50 is Enki's seat.
Wow.
Because Enki was born first. Then once Enlil came to Earth, most of us don't know this, but Enki was Enlil before Enlil was Enlil. But when Enlil came to Earth, they changed his rank. Then he goes to 40. Enlil goes to 50.
Oh.
Enlil gets the title Enlil, and now Enki, Prince Ea, takes on the title of Enki. So the Lord of the Sky, who governs over the fleets that traverse from the earth to the ship, that command of the ships was taken over by Enlil, right? So his name was Nunamner, I think. I always get them mixed up in Babylon. It's Nunamner and Nutamud, and which is Enki and Enlil's Babylonian names.
Nimrod, not Nimrod. That's something different.
Nimrod not born yet.
Okay.
Nimrod is another name for Ninigazita.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Right. The character of Nimrod is also the character of Loki.
Okay.
Right. Because he's the only male heir to the matriarchal earth
Uh-huh.
through his mother. Because she gave birth to him parthogenically, which makes him override all of the other ones that came here with a Y chromosome because he's the firstborn of the earthborn, parthogenic son of the great mother,
That's right.
coming to redeem the daughters of the earth from the fathers of the sky.
Interesting. He wasn't muddied up with the seeds that were there. He was parthenogenically, meaning more organically, or just it was like an inside job.
Right. So when you read in the ancient texts, it tells you that the daughter that was the wife of Enki, right, who she's been different people at different times in history, and a lot of these things we think is names are titles.
Mm-hmm.
But at one time she was Inanna,
And Nana, yeah.
another time she was Isis. But the sacerdotal seat of the earth, she sits there. She has what's called a blood right covenant with the earth.
Mhm.
And if you look right here, right up there
Yep.
in this picture,
Yeah.
it's Ta'ert, which we call the great cosmic mother. You've seen her in Moonfall as the hippopotamus goddess.
Yes.
Now, she's not the one who's supposed to navigate the ship. The ship belongs to Osiris. He has to navigate the waters, what's called the primordial abyss, the noon,
Mm-hmm.
to go back and complain about what his wife did to Big Mama. I'm going to send you that picture.
While we're waiting for that, everyone, please put a like on the video for Rod Hayes coming in, giving us some facts, some intellectual stimulus, some archival, like information that has obviously been suppressed and changed and shapeshifted over the ages. And those of you who are waiting on Zoom, you guys are going to be waiting. I'll after when me and Rod are kind of like heading out, we're gonna have some of you come in and add a question to it. Oh, oh, okay. I'm like in awe. Okay, hold on. Woo! That gave me like a brain orgasm. Wow. Okay, hold on. Did I upload it? Yes. Wow. I've never seen this before.
That's a different picture of the same thing, though. This one is
Okay.
a different. This one is a different color pattern. But you see right here with my finger is
I love,
pointing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's Ta'ert.
Okay, so let me get these in.
This gonna take us right back to where we started at.
Ring around the rosy. Okay, let me share it. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to be as fast as possible. I'm not the best with technology, but I'm getting it. I'm getting it slowly but surely. Hold on. Give it a minute to send. I got it. Got it.
So when we talk about deities, the relic, the oldest known relic of any representation of a deity
Mhm.
was the hippopotamus goddess Ta'ert.
Okay, for sure.
So I'm gonna let you blow this up and read it so they'll know who she is. Tawaret is another name for her.
Okay, so let me,
Tawaret or Ta'ert.
Tawaret, Egyptian goddess. You want me to read it, Rod?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Egyptian goddess of childbirth. Tawaret symbolizes childbirth and fertility. She assisted women in the process of childbirth by keeping away evil spirits and protecting the mother. In Egyptian mythology, Tawa'et was a symbol of resurrection. She aided the deceased in the various trials and tribulations of the underworld. Tawa'et is seen as the emblem of motherhood. This is made clear in her role as protector to Horus and the sun god Ra. Look at her. Wow. Oh my God. I see so many images that they use with aspects of her right now. Like, look at this. Like, she has this head right here, right? And she has a long, ranking it a lot of times with women, the braiding of the hair was like, almost looks like a tail.
It's alligator spine.
Oh my God. She's got the hoof foot and she's got the ankh. It looks like an ankh almost like a partial ankh.
That symbol is called a sa.
Oh, Sa?
That's a sa. Yep. S-A.
S-A, look at this.
It is actually the symbol of the birth maidens, the ones who call doulas today.
Yes.
That's their spiritual protection symbol of Ta'ert.
It's interesting because during the witch trials, when they were killing off the women that were being killed were actually midwives and doulas and naturopathic and herbalists. They were killing off those women who had the baseline, the blueprint of that type of ritual, of this deity probably. You know what I mean?
Now, before you go to the next page, we'll point out a couple things to you.
Okay.
The presence of Ta'ert in the second paragraph in the gold writing.
The symbol of resurrection?
She is the symbol for resurrection.
Holy, that brings in the whole concept of, incarnation, because resurrection is like incarnation. So she birthing children in, that is also a form of resurrection, coming back in. That's just how I'm pulling it in.
Okay, now, the next paragraph, she is a protector to who?
She is the protection. She is the safeguard. Tawat symbolizes protection, and she safeguarded both temple, premises, and households.
So, somebody asked, do I do mentor for the young chief? I mentor any of them that come to me, but the official programs start on the turnaround. The reason why I haven't started any official programs, because they would have tried to come get me as a cult leader. But as long as I'm doing everything remotely and solitary, it ain't nothing they could do about it.
Well, I want to ask if our cells are the way they are, then that means our cells are the same as hers. Then am I correct? Or
yeah, that's what we was just going over, the LAC-Z gene. That's the immortal genes that is from the earthborn, that comes through the mother line, that's carried through the mitochondrial from the first mother.
mm-hmm.
This is why when we canceled stuff in the oral tradition, before I knew who you was, you knew who I was, they were surrendering documentation to you. You ain't go ask them people for that stuff.
No.
They came and told you they had some stuff for you.
Yeah.
Because if I start exercising my blood right effectively, then it causes them to have to honor that by giving you all the Big Mama stuff back. Because I can't have mine unless you got yours. So I got to find you while I'm putting it together. I'm sending you the knocks. Sooner or later, the right ear gonna catch it, and then you gonna find me. Because I'm saying the right stuff according to what's coded in the DNA. No, her cells were not cancer cells. They said she died of cervical cancer, but in doing the biopsy, they took some of her cells and used them in research and found that her cells were immortal, meaning that they don't die They just continuously replicate.
So that when we transition as melanated women, they're robbing our tomb, as they say, the temple.
Yeah.
And so and I give this information out in the classes or the enlightenment sessions that I give, where the resin that is around the pineal gland and how powerful that is around that love. That's why they so in a hurry to get us down to the morgue so that they can drain the pineal gland of the essence of that substance that's around the pineal gland that they're using in ink toners, and they're using that resin in the ink toners to write our demise, believe it or not, because it's powerful, that substance around there. And I talk about that in our enlightenment sessions over in the 12 steps to sovereignty. And so
You know, they made a movie about that back in the 80s. This dude comes from outer space and he's taking things, sucking the juice out their pineal gland.
yeah.
Yeah. They made a movie about it.
So that's why it's important for us to have our own morgue and our own everything on birthing centers, because we have so much intellectual properties that are being taken from us, and
Without our
I don't
consent.
even need. Yeah, well, I don't even know about compensation, because I don't think it's no amount of compensation that we could get for what we have. So nobility is not for sale.
Well, the compensation is give us what's ours, and when they get done giving it to us, they ain't got nothing left. So they can have what's left over after they give us what's ours. Nothing.
Nothing
just give us what's
comes,
ours.
nothing leaves, nothing. You gotta have something. You wanna be with me. Okay. I'm not a singer, so I'm not gonna quit my day job. Okay. Now, Miss J had her hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm curious as to whether or not Lilith is somehow connected to Wata.
To who?
Is
Lilith.
there a connection to Wata and Lilith? Mani Wata?
Oh, well, Lilith. Okay, so Lilith is Lil Neef, right? It's Nephthys, and Lil is like saying Lil is like saying the one with the voice. The one with the voice. If it's masculine, it's the booming voice. If it's feminine, it's the harmonious voice, the siren. Neith is one on the pantheon of deities in the temples in Kemet. You can look her story up. This is who they talking about. Right. They call her Lilith in the Arabic rendition of the Kemetic Lil Neith.
Okay. Thank you, Rod.
Yep,
Okay.
all that was part of the usurping the divine feminine, by the way. Villainize all the righteous goddesses and turn them into harlots that bring the man down. Which is absolutely not the case. Because if you got you a good woman, you're going to come rise to the heavens. or bring heaven to earth. One of the two.
You better know it. So it's imperative that we get our stuff together, get ourselves together.
Brother,
This,
we have two questions in YouTube.
mhm.
One of the questions is, when will Big Mama be able to get her seat? And the other question is, did George Floyd call on his mother with the knee on his neck? Was it any significance in it?
Yes. Okay. So the first one is Big Mama's seat is predicated up on the mass awareness of the matriarchal return. This is what we're doing now. As the masses become more and more aware, then they play the political stage show off to show us the timing based off a script that's derived from prophecies. They play it out, and when the old system fall, it has got to fall with a theatrical performance. The banks collapsed, and all of the senators and congressmen seem to be losing their mind, and I have to come and tell you that we under martial law because the government is non-functional or some theatrical performance type like that, which is going to be telling you at the same time the matriarchs have overruled all of the patriarchal BS and assumed their rightful position as the mothers prepared to nurse the nations. Right? And so it'll be known publicly because we're not doing nothing privately. We're doing this for the people, in front of the people, for the people to see what we're doing the whole time we're doing it. And what we're doing is following the oral tradition to walk back the imposters until we get Big Mama back to her seat. And it comes from reading the signs, and they all in front of us. Okay, the George Floyd, the officer Chauvin was the Manchurian candidate with his knee on George Floyd neck. The program trigger word was mama. Because the character, and every time they arrested George before that, he always get into that call for his mama. So the officer assigned is a Manchurian candidate, MK Ultra product, sent out to cause a chaotic event to keep us in a state of fear, to prevent us from reclaiming what's rightfully ours, to give them an extension of time by confusion. So when he put his knee on George Floyd's neck and he was crying for his mama, he was activating him with a hypnotically implanted code in Officer Chauvin that he had no control of his voluntary self to stop. He had to do what he did at that point because that's what he was programmed to do. The same way the guy was programmed to shoot John Lennon in the back, the same way Sirhan was programmed to shoot Robert Kennedy, the same way that guy that you never seen was programmed to kill JFK because Harvey Oswald didn't do it. So they used those Manchurian candidates. The Sonia Massey, hers was the blood of Jesus. They knew who she was. The police was already at her house when she called the police. Them the people she was calling the police on. So they was already there, walking around, prowling in their yard. All they needed was an excuse to get in the house. Tapping on her side of her house with their flashlight, like some of these psychics ain't gonna see it. This in the Akashic record is plain as day, visible. Overhead view, you can see him walking in their backyard, tapping on the house side of the building with the flashlight. So when she called for him, then they got these uncanny connections between the police that was the trigger man and the lady at the hospital she just left. There's too many coincidences for it to be haphazard. Matter of fact, it ain't even a coincidence no more because there's more than two things that's converging now. Po mean two. Anything more than that, it's deliberate. So that was the significance of him calling mama.
Any more questions? Someone is asking about when are we still working on getting Dr. York out? And there are some extenuating circumstances that I can't personally talk about, but maybe Rod can give you an update in a general way.
Look,
Because
this is a situation. We working to get all of the chiefs out, not just one. But we have to finish establishing jurisdictional supremacy. That means we have to finish bringing this corporate fiction to a close so we can be in a position to give an order to release them. As of right now, they system ain't done falling, so we still in the same thing, struggling to get the people to wake up in enough mass to cause the system to collapse. And then we'll see more than just Malachi. But we ain't gonna stop advocating for the righteous that was done wicked, no matter which one of the chiefs they be.
I say. Okay, so any more questions on TikTok? Okay. Thank you, New Orleans King. He said I look like the angel. Thank you. All right. So I guess that's all the questions that we have.
We have someone with their hand raised, Coach Brittany.
Oh,
Yes, hi. So I have a question. This is probably for either Empress or Rod, either one. I know I'm going to be in the sovereignty class this fall, but would it help to also join and be tribal affiliated during this time, joining a tribe officially? My husband and I did our genealogy, checked census records, and we confirmed, our tribal lineage, and we found Aboriginal people who started some nations. And I don't know what you think about that. Is that necessary? Just wanted to hear your thoughts.
As
no.
long as you don't have to register nothing with the government, you can tribe up with your tribe. But as soon as they start telling you got to fill this out and sign that, it's a trap. Your
Okay.
tribe know who you are, just like you know who they are, and y'all feel the same. And some of them might not be woke yet, but others will be.
Well, this is my take on it as Big Mama. Your tribe is your family and your children. And then it expounds from there. Okay. I'm like Rod, I'm real I'm about you knowing who you are and centering that first, and then the other stuff will work itself out, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Coach.
it does make sense.
Yeah,
That makes
so
sense.
don't
Mhm.
don't be running, because a lot of times I'm gonna be honest with you all about running and joining stuff. So you got to be careful about running and joining stuff. You want to create your own tribe in your own right, because that means you going and being up under somebody that's in charge or something. And I really promote you being that you're looking for outside of yourself and going over there and joining somebody that's dictating how things roll. Why can't people why can't you get people get the concept that you're your own governing force here? And that you say whatever it is, and whatever you say, that's what it is.
Well, a lot of that come from the socialization and the conditioning of the current system. And we don't understand how to be leaders within our own household, let alone to lead the family. All our big mamas do it. They keep us together. Our aunties, and they get together and they keep the family together. Those are the principles that you learn as you establish your tribe under your vine and fig tree. Everybody was supposed to be under their own system, and they only codified it so that other people in their clan know how their system run. We call it literature, tribal literature, but we wasn't had restrictions like you can't go fishing unless you go register over here. We didn't have those restrictions, and we formed alliances with other groups that was doing similar interest things in order for us to be able to congregate together under a common purpose. Some tribes in the South, it was the barbecue. Other tribes, it was the fish fry, right? And you start going further west, you start getting more and more diverse tribal practices that the local tribes rally around, right? In the Midwest area, it was the Great Corn Festivals, where they brought corn from all the different tribes around the land and had different corn dishes. Then you had the bison hunts that all of the men used to go on to bring the meat back to their family. They ran the bison off so that they can sell us bovine beef that's toxic to our system. So we had tribal affiliations based on common interests. My family might be interested in cars, and we might have some people that's a few cities over that got the common interest, and we will form an event based around our common interest for a tribal gathering. This was how now all of these celebration type things and carnivals and fairs, that all come from our ancient practices being monetized and used to drain our resources. But
If I may, Ron, sorry, just real quick. I guess one question to add to that. So my husband and I have a business. We travel. We've lived out of the country. I think we were looking at it because we wanted a tribal driver's license. We wanted to register our business with the tribe. We wanted to, maybe get a passport that was not with the United States, or a tribal passport. But it sounds like we won't even need to do any of that. Is that what I'm? Okay.
no,
No.
because what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a family bank. Your family bank is going to have a personnel office that register your vehicles, your home property, and your family will insure your assets to help you rebuild if a tornado comes. So all of your assets will be available for your resource, and this will be they will go back so many generations. The common Big Mama's family will be alerted to her asset. And then they will get together and they will form family groupings and set up what's called the family umbrella, which starts from the ones that's the senior members, clans, and the family closest related to her, all the way to the branches out. And so everybody will be tied in to a family bank, and this will take away the need for a central bank, because the family bank does for the family what the central bank does for the country. Only it protects the interests of the family over the interests of the country, and the Federal Reserve Bank protect the interests of the banker over the people or the country. So it's different when Big Mama Bank set up.
Oh, it's very
So all
much
of that
different.
stuff
We
comes
call
from
it
Big
the indigenous people's sovereign people's bank. And I can't talk a lot about it, but I can tell you that Empress is in the process of being trained and in the software to do what needs to be done for our people and our banking system.
Thank you both for answering my questions. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, someone said that does a hysterectomy interfere with your activation?
You have
No.
to use right. You have to use what's called the phantom, which is the body's memory of the uterus. It's energetically still there. It's just not physically still there. It's the same way people get their leg cut off and so they can still feel their leg even though it ain't there. It's called phantom limb syndrome. That's because the energy field that the leg was in is still there. It's just that the physical leg not there. And spiritually, you totally intact, no matter what they take from you physically. But physically, they can maim the body, but they can't maim the spirit. And the spirit will respond